Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Edith Lopez, and I will be presenting my persuasive speech for my communication class. Nowadays, the appropriate type of sexual education continues to be an important topic of debate. Today's society has revolutionated, and some institutions provide the necessary elements to children to have a better sexual life. However, another deprive this opportunity of information critical to adolescents. In effect, the schools are creating a chaos and putting teenager sex ahead at risk. As a result, according to Marijuana City, on importance of sexual education from adolescents perspective, as to Indonesia, there are about 74 million of people in the United States, and only 13% of them lack lack of knowledge about contraceptives, pills, or do know anything about safe sexual practices. Subsequently, this is creating adolescents wanting to discover more about this, and they go into Google leading to misinformation, since there are many pages that they are don't trust it and they don't must be checked. As I have grown and matured as a person, I have become more interested in this topic of sexual education, since many of my friends have left school for becoming pregnant. It is sad to see how many students don't finish school or don't enjoy life. As a result, I found that talking about sexual education may help them to be more informed, make safer choices, and have healthy outcomes in their relationships. However, this cannot be possible with this school mediocre system that it's not free for many of the students. Considering this issue, you may have an outlook on how the lack of sexual education is affecting critically the society's adolescents. Subsequently, you will decide to preview deeper these consequences and find what is working through sexual education. In order to give a bigger picture, first I will discuss two of the main negative consequences faced by adolescents, the causes, and ultimately the solutions. Primarily, my speech will begin highlighting two problems from lack of sexual education on the schools. You will wonder to learn which are those critical problems that I decided to discuss. Well, those are increment on pregnancy rates and unfavorable behavior on sexual conduct. As many schools are Christian and desire to protect adolescents, they often support abstinence, where you are taught the sexual education in the schools, to primarily delay sexual activity intermarriage. Consequently, according to Harry Stranger and Howe, this analysis that you see over here from 2005 shows that the states without sexual education implemented averaged teen pregnancy rates of 73.24% per 1,000 girls aged 14 to 19. And here are the states that average less. And with the sexual information implemented, while it is not. Clearly, those statistics exhibit this, the sense of high pregnancy rates from the abstinence of sexual education in some school districts, particularly females who give birth in an early age may suffer from complications in some pregnancy and may experience death. They are more likely to face eclampsia risk, endometriosis during the puerperium, and a systemic infection than those other mothers that give at the right out when they must give birth. Without the opportunity to having access to sex education, adolescents and having this type of consequences and taking very impulsive actions. The second problem is unfavorable behavior on sexual conduct that is linked to the sexual lack of education of sex in the schools. The National Library of Medicine introduces that adolescents is a unique stage in life where someone transitions from childhood to adulthood, and they will desire to know more about the world, discover more about this. Teenagers do not know how to act, how to make decisions, or how to act in sexual relationships. Many of them experience major stress and find themselves engaging in sexual behaviors. For looking at Google saying that you must do this or you must do another to be a better sexual partner. Therefore, as stated by SRM, about 60% of teenagers who take abstinence classes are more likely to become sexually active with different amount of partners. This will clearly contradict the first thing that the Christian school didn't want this because they will have to delay the sexual activity, but as you see, this will not. In support of this, as claimed by Lynch, 50 of 20 students feel unable to refuse unwanted sex or feel compelled to exchange sex for money. As a result, the absence of adequate information means damage teenagers' emotions and confidence. Now, some of you may wonder why these are problems appear. Well, we will discover the causes. Let's examine it. The problems before previewed are known by many people from society, but why it is keeping increasing if we are aware of this? The following causes for increment in birth rates and unfavorable sexual behavior are the socioeconomic status and misinformation and variety of opinions. Mary Yesore in the article Effect of Sexual Education Programmable and at Risk Sexual Behavior introduces that socioeconomic status is one of the things which will contribute to high pregnancy rates. Following it, the DCH CDC that adolescents living in forest care are more twice to become pregnant than someone that it's not. Like here, you will see that these are the ones that lower status and the ones with better. The lower will need increment instead of the other ones. History indicates that 51% of women from the lowest education level are good that they do not know how to avoid getting pregnant. This line 15 from the lower income states often have limited access to health issues among adolescents. Hence, since the school is not accessible for everyone, it leaves teenagers facing sexual events without thinking about the consequences of pregnancy because they are not well informed about this and they must do that. The second cause is like in the US, some schools are reluctant to talk about sexual education to their students openly. It is because neither boy or girl has free access to sexual education information. Easy. They may need to find answers to questions on sexually, and they usually find it on questionable sources, which may give the wrong information to them. Subsequently, the CDC indicates that around 36% are sexually active and didn't use content during elections. Over here, as you see, more than 46 of sexually active high school students didn't use a condom and have reported out new CTDs. How it can be possible with this step? Many of them have been too resilient for what we have. Also, the lack of sexual education can create a misleading adequate communication when negotiating with sexual relations. What I'm referring that they will have sex to the chance money. They don't know what to do. There is money, they take it, leading to to gang involvement, fighting, and violence, which are associated with risky sexual behavior. This is linked and caused also by parents due to the unexpected, but parents are a great part of our sexual education that they must see and also see to tell the teacher that they must show more about that. Because they argue that the information provided by them is more educated and respectful. It is because parents possess an emotional power to set particular rules during parental care with the sexual education needs here in Islam. They often argue that the information will help the students to decide to perform sexual activity in a safer way, not in the bad one as they always think. Of course, our parents are argue that are the ideal to teach this information, but some may not have a strong relationship. Not everyone have a strong relationship with their parents. Do you know that? Right. With their sons, as the article America's Sexual Educations, how are we failing our students? Society Rural highlights the following that some studies argue that about 30% of the students are more likely to have a disconnection and environment when talking about sexual privacy with their parents. As we can see, there's different opinions around the society which are preventing the students from getting knowledge of how to learn exceptional sexual behavior, and we need to change it. Absolutely. These causes reveal how our society is structured by ignorant citizens who put sexual education as a priority for some and an inability to low income status. That's why in the following segments I will provide few solutions that will get rid little by little of the lack of sexual education. The first solution may see programs for control birth date as sexual education in schools. The list of opportunities to reduce the wanted increment of pregnancies along the use is immense. In accordance with the CDC, evidence claims that there are programs to prevent the addition of more births between the teens. In addition, we need to provide unlimited access to job-friendly reproductive services to eliminate the social bias, everyone equality on rights regarding childbearing. Like if you have money or you don't have, you have the same must have the same opportunity to have the better sexual knowledge. Here it is about having sex, no money needed. And why we need this also? And also we need increment the interest on parents in helping their daughters about birth control. But more important, apply more emphasis on sex education in public schools, where they're going to provide clear message about the importance of abstaining sex. The second solution, the ideal way for better understanding of sexual education is, according to the Library of Medicine, it consists of instruction on the development on understanding of the physical, emotional, social, economic, and physical phase of human relationships that are affected by sex. In other words, it will provide a picture of choose informed and responsible decisions when choosing to be active on sex. We can avoid getting active because if you want a child, you must be active, but you must have the safe sex practices. We must be able to give the opportunity to children to navigate, to get know more their sexual life, but also in healthy way, by including a strong influence as parents and teachers that will lead to avoiding access to unreliable information to the wrong one. And more than nothing, let them know that no one has the right or persuasion to make them to do something that they don't desire or them to force to do that. It should be noted that I am already in the phase of concluding with the topic. So, after demonstrating the horrible school system which we own and we must not, I am desiring you having a clear idea of how our adolescents are having less childhood due to routine system and will be willing to advocate. And you will be willing to advocate with me for more introduction of sexual education. In this speech, I gave a bigger picture first. I discussed two of the main negative consequences faced by adolescents, therefore the causes and ultimately the solutions. Sex cannot be a secret anymore, pointings, because if we keep doing that, they're just becoming adults and don't enjoying life as they deserve. Not providing sexual education will affect their future. Schools must provide precise information about sex to teenagers because it is an important subject that will be needed later in life. Thank you.